Welcome to channel where I make your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now today I would like to talk about a little bit of updates on the employment sponsored visa, where we have received a news article which was published 2 days ago, but late on Monday afternoon. But anyway, I would like to, no, not Tuesday, I'm sorry. I'd like to get that updated for you. The news has largely been debated, and obviously on the news media you probably have already seen it, but I would just like to go through it and let you guys know what is happening. There will be two news that I would go through together with you. It's a similar content, but obviously we wanted to view through all the information there. So the first one, let's have a look. This is coming from news.com. It says, where are they going to live? Obviously it's talking about again the housing crisis due to the migrant moving into Australia. So talking about where they're going to live, the skilled workers to be offered a fast-track visa under migration overhaul. So let's have a look. It talks about fast-tracking, but didn't we aren't we just experiencing some sort of delay since the new financial year? I think that's going through all the skill migration, 70% cut on the state nomination, the cut on the and the delay on the global talent, and the complete cut on 1W visa. So I'm not too sure what's talking about the fast tracking. So let's have a little read. Now this one's this from news.com is a bit short, but we'll go in through the financial review one, which is going to be much longer because it says under the Australian Financial Review. So just give you a little brief, and I'll do a little bit of the what I think at the end of this video. So the federal government is planning a further turbocharge. Well, I'm not too sure if that will be the right phrases, because currently it's extremely slow, and if you experiencing that, agree that with me, give me a thumbs up on that one there. So they're looking to overhaul visa processing, but this is expected. If you haven't followed my channel long enough, the whole change of the policy will take place in the second half of this year, 2023. Under the planned migration overhaul, detail which will lead to Australian Financial Review on Wednesday. Was it on Wednesday? But this one came out Tuesday. But anyway, the business will be able to bring on the foreign skilled worker on as little. They're talking about the income level threshold. Little. They see, this is what I'm trying to say. Some media is more politically sided in the other way. So when they put it in debate, the media, they tend to using housing crisis trying to crash the current Labor government. They always saying things a little bit, as you can read here, 120,000. They're telling us that is a little. Well, I'm not too sure what's the average earning for all the Australians and the skilled migrant there. Okay, fast track the visa process. The change is part of government's soon to be released migration review commissioned by the Labor address that describes as the fundamentally broken system. It comes to after Australia won the record-breaking 400,000 migrant last financial year, but bear in mind, before this 400,000, again, that's what I'm trying to say. Political side media talks about things in a different way. Now, what about during the pandemic? There was negative. So this 400,000 is actually the lump sum of the previous 2 years, 2021 and 2020. But anyway, as you can see, they're using some of the phrases to frighten the general public in Australia. In addition to stripping back the regulation and make it easier. So they're talking about whether it's going to be 120,000 or as high as 150,000. But again, they seem to be from news.com.au, they think that is a little earning. But anyhow, let's see what I go. Let's have a look at the more detail on because I don't want it to go through this chit chat and a little bit of debating in regards and the transcript there. So it's really it's not fruitful, it's not useful. So let's have a look at the little detail here. So the financial review, this is actually the report or the news came out on the 19th of September. So 19th will be, it's a Wednesday now. This is actually Tuesday, but it's actually from late night, 10:30 p.m. as you can see. So news.com, you probably saw this one on Wednesday. Anyhow, this is the topic that they are trying to talk about. So this will be exclusive, and it provides us more of what's the upcoming policy for the employment sponsor. Remember, there will be 3 tiers of the employment sponsor visa. One is the lower end skill. I believe that will go to all the regional require employments. For example, in the agricultural field, primary productions and other things, probably replacing Dharma. I think Dharma is not really working as good as or work in conjunction together. And the other one is what we have learned is currently in place. So you got to be at the employment level of 70,000 plus, and you can work, you can be employed and nominated working under an Australian employer. Now this one we're talking about the highly skilled one. So your earning has to be above 120 or perhaps 150. That's almost meeting the global talent mark. Despite the global talent has been slowing down, there has been so many talents thrown into application. A lot of them has been receiving a decision with a closed. I'm not too sure whether they're gonna do something putting some of these global talents towards this so-called highly talented working visa there, and I believe this visa will actually gain straight permanent residency rather than going into a full A2 and then TRT 2 years and transferring to a permanent residency. But there's not much of detail here, but it's all talking. So this is more about where the trend is going. So again, I'm pretty welcome on this one, but I'm just don't know how the general public will actually react to this. Plus there's also a referendum coming up, so that actually turbocharges the political debates within the nation of Australia. So okay, let's have re-migration overhaul, fast track skilled worker in days, not month. Whoa, I'm not too sure that this will actually be happening in days. Well, anyhow, let's see how it goes. So a lot of people has heard and listened to all these Australian government's announcements, but a lot of people has actually losing the faith. I'm with you. I've also read a lot of things being promised by the Liberal government, Liberal National, the coalition, and things being promised by the Labor government. But anyway, I'm here with you. Okay, the business will be able to bring foreign skilled workers on potentially as little. Again, as little. I don't think 120,000 is as little, because there's a lot of other costs coming into with the visa processing things. Will take weeks. Well, didn't they say days? Okay, weeks instead of month. So this is contradiction. Is that either going to be days or weeks? I think weeks is more. Well, it's more real. I mean, days is, it's not gonna happen. There's a lot of things to be checking. As part of migration overhaul, okay, the changes as part of government's soon to be released migration review. So again, this is basically duplicate of what we have read. So And this is what we have talked about the 70,000. That's for the general employment sponsor visa that will go on to 482, and then TRT transition to permanent residency after 2 years. They got to change that. And the highly skilled one with the salary rate above, it's either gonna be 120,000 or potentially as high as 150,000. They have not decided that yet. But as long as you meet that mark, I believe this will potentially, they don't say it here, potentially get a permanent residency straight away. So they're talking about the overhaul, pandemic closure. We all learned this from my channel. I've talked about this for month and month. The final migration review will be released alongside a review of integrity of international education system, where they're gonna, I don't think there's gonna be much of changes. They're gonna remove the GTE and replace it with GST. Okay, genuine student tests. Not much gonna different, and designed to lift the bar of international students. Whether or not it's gonna really lift the bar, let's see what happens. Studying Australian, targeting widespread rotting abuse of student visa. So if they can lift the bar, how about the rotting abusing? So I'm not too sure how they're going to work on that one. And the streamlined application process, highly paid worker, weight of key recommendation, an interim migration review in March, and the review report actually came out in April. They just go in alongside with what the competitors such as Canada, where they have the skilled worker approved in a matter of weeks. So business group wants as low as 98,000, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So because the news article have already got that 120,000, so I think 120,000 will be the high mark there. Previously I was estimated around 90,000, so that's pretty close to what the business group wants, because if we go up to 120 or 150,000, that's, well, might as well go through, might as well expand the global talent visa category rather than doing something like that. And plus, people earning as much as that, why would they really pick a destination of Australia? So that's another key thing to actually consider. And they were people actually calling for threshold to be as high as 200,000. I mean, that is even way over. That's more than what the global talent, that's the highest mark of the skill migration program. If employment sponsor is going to be requirement criteria is higher than the global talent, then why bother have a global talent category there? So again, it's a promoting of these high talent to come to Australia. Whether they need to be sponsored by an employer, that's a question mark. That's a question mark, because there's a lot of high-tech industry. We gotta understand this. There's a lot of high-tech industry that Australia doesn't even offer anything there. For example, if we're talking about the quantum computing, are there that many quantum computing position to be sponsored by the employer? Question mark. What about semiconductor and advanced manufacturing? I mean, technically there's no manufacturer in Australia, right? And they want advanced manufacturing come to Australia. So if they require employment sponsor, that means this whole category is void. It's impossible to actually implement. So that's a lot of things that the government of Australia require to have a little think about what to be done, and there will be easier just switching. That's something that we talked about. There's no more the compulsory thing that they previously, if you're sponsored by an employer and you wanted to switch to another employer, it's gonna be harder. It's gonna be not harder, it's gonna be very, very complex, and you can technically get your visa cancelled if you're switching the employer going downside. So union involvement. So this is all talked about the previous background, and it already got to 70,000 already, so I'm not going to cover that. So basically we are heading towards a potential highly skilled employment visa for the earning of 120,000 per annum, and whether or not, well, I believe this will go straight to a permanent residency. But if it's not that, if it doesn't give you straight permanent residency, it's going into a transition, just like the 70,000 mark people. then why bother? Now, what's the differences between employee earning 70,000 and the highly skilled? So do you want to be a highly skilled? I mean, it's only the processing time is quicker, but there's not much of differences. Then why? How do you attract, again, how do you attract the highly skilled worker? Let's see how the actual law and policy will be out. Anyway, should you have a question, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.